First off, I want to say that I hope everybody had a Merry Christmas or whatever it is you celebrate. I hope everybody is having a great holiday season. I know I definitely am. I haven't uploaded in a little bit. It's been almost a week, but I figured it would be a good time to, just kind of take a break, and I definitely feel refreshed and I'm ready to get back into the swing of things. So earlier in the offseason, I made a video talking about the best and worst free agency signings of the offseason up until that point. Now in today's video, I wanted to go over what I think are some of the more underrated additions of the offseason, so it doesn't have to be just signings, it can be players the team acquired in a trade too. Keyword there is underrated, so you won't see Taylor Hall signing in Buffalo in this list. Even though I do think that was a great signing for the Sabres, it wasn't an under the radar move. Be sure to get down there in the comment section and let me know what you guys think are some of the more underrated additions of the offseason up until this point. If you haven't already, be sure to go check out my social medias like Instagram and Twitter. Links to those will be down below in the description as always. And most importantly, we're on the road to 50,000 subscribers, so if this is your first time on the channel and you want more NHL content just like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and now let's begin. When it comes to the offseason that the Vancouver Canucks have had, I feel like a lot of people are only focusing on what the Canucks have lost and not really what they've gained. Now obviously it does hurt that they lost Tyler Toffoli, Chris Tanev, Troy Stecher, Josh Leivo, and their starting goaltender Jacob Markstrom, but I absolutely love the addition of Nate Schmidt for the Vancouver Canucks. I think he's a great get, especially considering they only had to give up a third-round pick to bring him in. I mean, just last night we saw the Ottawa Senators give up a second for Derek Stepan. I think immediately Nate Schmidt is Vancouver's second best defenseman, obviously behind Quinn Hughes. I'd say he's a pretty significant upgrade over somebody like Chris Tanev. Now obviously we don't know where the Vancouver Canucks plan to play Nate Schmidt, what pairing he's going to be on and everything just yet, but if he plays with Quinn Hughes, I honestly think that they have the potential to be, I won't say the best pairing in the league, but one of the best. Nate Schmidt is very solid in his own end. He's put up 30 or more points in each of the past 3 seasons, including a career high in points per game in the 2019-20 season. Honestly, I would say the only red flag when it comes to Nate Schmidt, if you even want to call it that, is the fact that he has a $5.95 million, so pretty much a $6 million cap hit through the 2024-25 season. So depending on how he ages, maybe the final year of that contract isn't the greatest, but that's something that you worry about when the time comes. Right now, Nate Schmidt is a fantastic top 4 defenseman, and getting a player like that for a third-round pick is amazing. Now this one is a more recent signing, one that I actually haven't talked about on the channel yet, and that is Anthony Duclair signing a 1-year, $1.7 million contract with the Florida Panthers. Now first off, I want to say, just looking at this signing for Anthony Duclair and for his career, I don't really get it. It was reported that Ottawa offered him term and over $4 million a season. If that's true, I cannot believe he turned something like that down, especially considering how much Duclair has bounced around the league so far, and he's only 25 years old. Ottawa was his 5th team. He really seemed to struggle to fit in most places he played besides Ottawa. Of course, he looked really good there, so I'm really just shocked he didn't re-sign in Ottawa. Florida is now Anthony Duclair's 6th different NHL team, and with it being a 1-year deal, he could be on another new team next season. Anyways, now looking at this signing from the Florida Panthers point of view, I absolutely love it. This is a team that didn't re-sign Evgeny Dadonov, and Mike Hoffman's still UFA, probably not coming back to Florida. Those are 2 pretty big holes, and I feel like Florida overall did a pretty good job this offseason of filling those holes, bringing in Patrick Hornqvist in the Mike Matheson trade, and now of course signing somebody like Anthony Duclair. On top of that, you potentially have young wingers coming into the lineup like Owen Tippett and Grigory Denisenko. It's a 56 game season, so if Duclair puts up like 15 goals, 25 to 30 points, I'd imagine the Panthers are going to be happy with that. Again, this was just a $1.7 million contract. Now if Duclair doesn't play well in Florida, well then it's not that big of a deal because the contract is up after this season anyways. Overall, just a real solid low risk, high reward move for the Florida Panthers. Duclair is going to be able to score some goals, and for his sake, I hope he ends up on a line with Huberdeau and Barkov, has an amazing year, and then next offseason he can finally cash in and sign a long-term deal somewhere. This is a trade that actually happened on draft day. The Los Angeles Kings acquired Lias Andersson from the New York Rangers in exchange for the 60th overall pick in the 2020 draft, so it was a late 2nd round pick. I really think this trade has the potential to be fantastic for the Los Angeles Kings. They already have one of the best prospect pools, if not the best in the entire NHL, so did they really need that 60th overall pick? Not really. So why not use that pick, swing for the fences, and go out and acquire a young player who wanted out of his current situation, was a former 7th overall pick, and not too long ago either. He was drafted back in 2017. Now, yes, of course, there is some risk involved. In the 66 NHL games Lias Andersson played for the New York Rangers, he really didn't look good at all, but Lias Andersson was drafted 7th overall for a reason. He has potential, he's still young, and like I said, the Kings really didn't need that second round pick when you look at their prospect pool. To me personally, a trade like this for the Kings is well worth the risk. This sort of reminds me of the Dylan Strome situation. He was taken by the Coyotes with a high pick. He wasn't really ever able to put it together in Arizona, and then when he was traded to the Blackhawks, boom, in his first season with the Hawks, he put up over 50 points. Sometimes all it takes for a young player to realize their potential is a change of scenery. I think a move like this is definitely what's best for Lias Andersson's career. I'm not saying he's going to have, the type of season Dylan Strome had in his first full season with the Hawks. That's just one of the really good examples of a young player changing teams and then finally breaking out. One of the bad examples, I'll use Brendan Perlini this past season with the Red Wings. Steve Yzerman took a chance on him. Perlini really didn't work out in Detroit and is now currently an unsigned free agent. It really could go either way. Fingers crossed this works out really well for the Kings. I just think that they were the perfect team to take this type of risk. I actually made an entire video of the offseason moves that the New Jersey Devils made, kind of previewed the team heading into this upcoming season. My favorite offseason move that they made very well may be getting Ryan Murray for a 5th round pick. That is an absolute steal. I mean, Ottawa gave up a 5th round pick to bring in Erik Goodbranson. Who would you rather have? I know who I'm picking. Now, the thing with Ryan Murray is I feel like he gets a bad rep because he didn't really live up to the hype of being a 2nd overall pick. Another thing is he's really struggled to stay healthy throughout his NHL career so far, but when healthy, especially over the past couple of seasons, Ryan Murray has been a real solid top 4 defenseman. He's fantastic in his own end. He's definitely not useless offensively either. He had 29 points in 56 games in the 2018-19 season, and when you look at the makeup of the New Jersey Devils blue line, their top 3 defensemen, Damon Severson, Will Butcher, PK Subban, those are all offensive-minded defensemen. I really think the Devils needed a defenseman like Ryan Murray to just bring some defensive stability to their blue line. And again, the fact all they had to do was give up a 5th round pick to bring him in makes it that much better. And depending on what direction the Devils are going, maybe they're awful and they're completely out of the playoff race at the trade deadline, Ryan Murray's only got 1 year left on his deal. They could definitely ship him out as a rental and I'd imagine get a better return than a 5th round pick. Now, of course, that obviously isn't what the Devils are hoping for. I'm sure they want to be competing for a playoff spot, but that's just kind of looking at it from all different scenarios. He could prove to be really useful as a trade asset if they're not a good team, and if they are a good team, he's going to be really useful on the ice if he's healthy. This is the most recent addition we're going to talk about in the video, taking place on December 23rd, and that is Erik Haula signing a 1-year, $1.75 million contract with the Nashville Predators. This is a very similar deal to the one Anthony Duclair signed in Florida that we already talked about. I'm a big fan of these cheap 1-year deals for the team that signs them because there's literally just no risk involved. This is a signing that makes a lot of sense for Nashville, especially after they traded Nick Bonino to the Minnesota Wild. I think Erik Haula can come in and be a great 3rd line center for this team, and if you can get a bounce back year from Johansson and Duchesne, then that's not a bad 1-2-3 down the middle. Haula played pretty well this past season for the Carolina Hurricanes. In 41 games, he had 12 goals and 22 total points across an 82 game schedule. That's a 24 goal, 44 point pace. If he can score around that pace again this upcoming season, I'd imagine Nashville is going to be pretty happy. Again, it's $1.75 million. That is a complete bargain for Erik Haula. My only real gripe when it comes to this signing is it doesn't really address Nashville's need of getting a scoring winger. They did do a little bit of that earlier in the offseason, bringing in Luke Kunin from Minnesota in the Nick Bonino trade. They also re-signed Mikael Granlund not too long ago as well, which I think was a smart move by the Predators. That's just a 1-year deal as well. I really do still think the Predators are in need of at least one more top 6 winger, and Mike Hoffman is still out there as an unrestricted free agent, so maybe they could get him for cheap, you never know. I'm probably going to catch some heat for including this in the video because I know a lot of people weren't really the biggest fan of this move when it took place, but to me personally, the Montreal Canadiens trading a 3rd and a 7th round pick for Jake Allen is arguably the most important move that they've made this offseason. Now, yes, obviously with Jake Allen making $4.35 million this upcoming season, that is a ridiculous amount of money tied up between 2 goaltenders. I know that, but especially with it being a condensed season where there's going to be a whole lot of back-to-back backs, you need a reliable backup goaltender. The Canadiens can't play Carey Price 45 to 50 out of the 50 regular season games at his age and expect him to have anything left in the tank come playoff time if they make it, of course, and now they don't have to do that. Carey Price doesn't have to be relied on a ridiculous amount like he has been pretty much throughout his entire career so far, especially if Jake Allen can come close to replicating the season that he just had with the Blues. I mean, he finished with a 12-6-3 record and a .927 save percentage. He also sort of stole the starting spot from Binnington in the playoffs. Again, I get why a lot of people weren't a big fan of this. Yes, it's an expensive tandem for this upcoming season, but now more than ever, it is extremely important to have a good backup, and the Canadiens have that now. So that is going to do it for today's video. Those were, in my opinion, some of the more underrated additions of the 2020 NHL offseason so far. Like I said at the start of the video, be sure to get down there in the comment section and let me know who you think are some of the more underrated additions of the offseason. If you did enjoy the video, as always, be sure to leave it a like. That is the best way to show your support. And most importantly, if this is your first time on the channel and you want more NHL content just like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and I will talk to you all in the next video.